Hello and welcome to Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. I'm Naja Atutujani. Nigeria is to strengthen its collaboration with the United States to upscale its creative industry. This was the main thrust of discussions between the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, and the U.S. Deputy Secretary of State for African Affairs, Akuna Cook, when she paid a courtesy visit to the minister in Abuja. Anthony Forson reports.
Even though Nigeria's creative industry, Lai Mohammed said, contributes immensely to the nation's economy, Nigeria will benefit more through the collaboration with the United States.
Of immediate importance to us in Nigeria at this time is how to continue to improve the quality of our films. As you know, Nollywood, as our film industry is known, is among the top 3 in the world. Yes, the quality of our films have improved incrementally over the years, but we can still benefit from the rich experience of America's Hollywood, the undisputed world best.
On digitization, the minister explained the strides Nigeria has taken so far to ensure that it does not lag behind, especially in broadcasting. Lai Mohammed used the opportunity to explain to his guests how government is working hard to sanitize the media space for wholesome content.
So I want you to take back to the US. Nigeria has one of the freest press laws in the world.
Akuna Cook, on her part, said she is impressed with Nigeria and called for more content that projects the uniqueness of Africa and its abundant opportunities. She equally pushed for investment in human capital. With elections beckoning in Nigeria, a liberal media space, she said, will propel election success. In Abuja, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
The Police Service Commission has suspended Assistant Commissioner of Police ACP Sunday Ubwa and Assistant Superintendent of Police ASP James Bawa from exercising the powers and functions of their respective offices with effect from Monday, 14 February 2022. A statement by the Commission indicates that the 2 police officers who worked under the suspended DCP Abakari in the Intelligence Response Team are alleged to be involved in the current cocaine seizure uncovered by the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency. The Commission also directs the Inspector General of Police to note that DCP Abakari, who prior to this allegation was on suspension, will remain so until the conclusion of investigations. The Inspector General of Police is requested to place on suspension Inspector Simon Ariba and Inspector John Nuhu in accordance with the powers of delegation. He is requested to inform the Commission of the arrest of ASP John Omaru, who is currently at large, whenever his arrest is effected, to enable it take necessary action. Meanwhile, the Commission has also directed the Inspector General of Police to furnish it with information on further developments on the matter for necessary action. And the Chief Executive Officer, Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, Mele Kyari, has assured the House of Representatives Committee on Petroleum Downstream and Nigerians that measures have been put in place to accelerate fuel supply and distribution in the country. He gave the assurance at an engagement with the committee on the current fuel situation in the country. Millie said the company had placed significant orders of more than 2.1 billion litres of methanol-free petrol to ensure the queues vanish in a few days. He pledged that the NNPC would cooperate with the committee and the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority to get to the root of the matter. The CEO expressed deep empathy with Nigerians on the current situation and gave assurance that adequate measures have been put in place to maintain sufficient supply and prevent future occurrence. The chairman, House of Representatives Committee on Petroleum Downstream, Abdullahi Mahmood, assured Nigerians that the committee will handle companies which imported adulterated premium motor spirit into the country. Meanwhile, incessant petrol scarcity has continued to take its toll on residents in Makurdi, the Benue state capital. Chinasa Onyebuchi reports that most fuel stations have closed shop, while long queues of vehicles are still being seen in some stations which are selling the product.
Few days ago, scarcity of premium motor spirits began to hit some states, causing long queues to resurface. In the Makurdi metropolis, the situation some persons claimed is caused by the removal of adulterated products from the market. A visit to some filling stations showed long queues in the stations as motorists struggle to get the products. In the same vein, some filling stations were devoid of any signs of business activities.
We have the fuel here in Nigeria. Why should we be suffering for suffering for what we have? And it's a short distance. You'll be paying so much. It's not funny at all.
It has not been easy. Since the morning I wake today, I've been going from one filling station to the other, seeing how I can get fuel until just this afternoon. I'm able to see this queue and join.
If they want to ask price, it's better they ask at the hard price so that we can get fuel at any time of our need.
Operations Controller, Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, Benue State, Gabriel Adaba said the reason for the scarcity was the recalling of adulterated cargo from the market. He assured the public of their commitment towards bringing an end to the scarcity and encouraged them to desist from panic buying.
We have a sizable amount of stock that if people just buy for their immediate needs, we can weather the scarcity for a while.
Residents and motorists remain hopeful that the scarcity will be over to enable them access the products and go about the activities without difficulties. In Makurdi, Chinasa Onyebuchi Chukwueke, NTA News.
The Senate is reaffirming its commitment to enacting people-oriented legislation which will bring about dividends of democracy. The President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, said this at a one-day public hearing on 7 bills bordering on justice and security. National Assembly correspondent Mopolaji Moribirin reports.
The search for solutions to national challenges continues with the Senate holding public hearing on 7 bills.
Whether new or old, they are geared towards increasing the capacity of the justice system, which is the basis for the stabilization of our democracy, leading to good governance and progress.
The committee resolved to conduct a public hearing in order to collate inputs from stakeholders, which will form the bedrock of its recommendations to the Senate.
We hope that all of us that are seated here today will be able to give our utmost best.
Among them is the bill to amend the Terrorism Prevention Act, bills to establish abduction and wrongful restraint, and confinement for ransom acts. A bill to establish witness protection and management framework, and to amend Administration of Criminal Justice Act, as well as the one to amend the Court of Appeal Act.
Everyone here is afraid of being abducted, whether in the military or civil person like me. So it's a very welcome development that you are looking at this area.
This bill seeks to increase the number of justices of the Court of Appeal from 90 to 110, as stated. The forces of the bill view that this is a great step for the judiciary.
Witness Protection and Management Framework Establishment Bill 2022, we also support the bill.
The Institute considered all the 7 bills
We disagreed with some of the sections proposed.
The passage of those bills is expected to strengthen the judicial and anti-corruption war. From the National Assembly, Mobolaji, Moribiri, NTA News.
Remember, you can follow this news broadcast live on our website, nta.ng/live, and on YouTube, NTA News Online. You can also follow our Twitter handle, which is at NTA News Now, and our Facebook page is NTA Network News. Find us on Instagram as NTA Network for updates. And for more updates on fuel scarcity in Lagos, let's join Hinginu. Over to you, Hinginu.
Thank you, Naja'atu. We'll bring you the report on fuel scarcity in our subsequent bulletin, but we'll begin with an update on the strike by the Academic Staff Union of Universities, which is already hitting hard on students. Correspondent reports that some of the students are worried the academic calendar will be distorted.
Few days into the warning strike embarked upon by members of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, to drive home their demands, academic activities are still paralyzed at the University of Lagos. ASU Chairman, UNILAG Chapter, Dr. Dele Ashiru, gives an update.
The demand is principally two. The first is to sign that agreement, usher in a new salary structure for Nigerian university teachers, and secondly, take academic out of IPPIS and replace it with the University Transparency and Accountability Solution. Once these two demands are met, our members are willing and ready to engage government on the next line of action.
Few students were seen on campus, some going to the library to read, while others are engaging in various social activities.
It's disheartening because I have my mates at the private university. Some have graduated, some have served, and here I am in the federal university. This is my 5th year, still counting, and I just hope it won't be the 6th.
The students expressed optimism that the warning strike will be called off soon in order for it not to affect the 2022 academic calendar.
Now to the military. Despite having a fringe role in internal security and maintenance of law and order on the domestic front, the Nigerian military had in recent past played crucial role in taming old and emerging crimes within the society. Cultism and other threats to societal peace within the operational area of 81 Division of the Nigerian Army are top on the list as the division looks to deepen its intervention in the interests of the civil populace. Adeni Taiwo reports.
Several commands under it, the 81 Division of the Nigerian Army has its headquarters firmly rooted in Lagos, from where it marshals men and resources as duty demands. Even as it pursues its core military mandate of defending the sovereignty and territorial integrity of the nation, still, the Nigerian Army has not lost sight of internal security, where it forms the last line of defense. The new general officer commanding of the division, Major General Umar Musa, is aware of the impact that this fringe role can have on the security of a cosmopolitan environment such as Lagos, and is therefore keen to use his experience as a crack infantry officer to take on the challenge.
I'm aware Lagos has been cool and calm for some time, except in the past where you have a lot of activities that are not only peculiar to Lagos, especially cultism and kidnapping, amongst others. So I'm here to work and ensure Lagos remain peaceful.
In doing this, the new GOC is building on the record of its predecessor, who leveraged a robust synergy among security outfits in the state to effectively fight crime.
At the very last moment, there is one issue you are dealing with or the other. We will try to apply the act of being proactive so that we nip it in the bud before it's feathers.
In the finest form of military tradition of not missing a beat or dropping the ball at any point in time, the new GOC says change in leadership at the command would only serve to strengthen the command's performance. In Lagos, Adeni Itaiwo, NTA News.
Don't forget that you can follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on YouTube at NTA News Online. You can also visit our Facebook page at NTA Network News, Twitter handle at NTA News Now, and on Instagram at NTA Network for updates. We pause here for a break, after which Nationwide continues.
If you're just joining us, this is Nationwide on the network service of the NTA, and we're talking birthday wishes now. The Northern Governors Forum has felicitated with the First Lady Aisha Buhari as she marks her 51st birthday. The chairman of the forum and Governor of Plateau State, Simon Bag-Olalong, in a congratulatory message, says the forum rejoices with the mother of the nation on the special day as it calls for special recognition of her efforts at making an impact on the lives of Nigerians, particularly women and children. Lalong says the First Lady has over the years remained consistent and committed to initiating various programs which have had a direct impact on the most vulnerable persons in society. The forum says her pet project, the Future Assured program, has done a lot in empowering women and youth in all parts of the country, as well as humanitarian interventions to victims of crises and other natural disasters. The Northern Governors Forum wishes the First Lady good health, God's protection and wisdom to continue to stand for the weak and vulnerable in society. And still on humanitarian interventions, following the launch of its strategic roadmap for 2021 to 2025, the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development has presented its scorecard on various interventions in addressing humanitarian crises in the country. Ruth Aguele reports that this was highlighted during a virtual press briefing by the Minister Sadia Umar Farouk in Abuja.
It is estimated that about 7.1 million people are in need of humanitarian assistance in the Northeast region, with a total of 8.1 million people who are internally displaced across the country. A vacuum created as a result of natural disasters and man-made crises. The Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, saddled with the responsibility to meet the growing demands of the poor and vulnerable in the country, is presenting its scorecard to Nigerians on the various activities across agencies under its purview.
The ministry also undertook several intervention programs with distribution of food and non-food items to the poor and vulnerable across the country. The settlement city for IDPs, the mass housing project as part of the 10,000 housing units which the federal government is funding for the Northeast. The Northeast Development Commission has constructed and handed over 1,000 of these housing units to Borno State government. There's also the construction of 300 housing units which is ongoing, as being done by the National Commission for Refugees and Migrants. The National Senior Citizen Center has conducted medical outreaches to elderly people within the FCT.
Persons with disabilities have been integrated into the various national social investment programs.
His Excellency Mr. President has graciously approved the expansion of the NC program and the Empire by Sea from 500,000 to 1 million Nigerian youths, to which enrollment has been concluded and are awaiting onboarding and assignment to their places of primary assignment. And currently, 1,632,480 households are benefiting from the conditional cash transfer program.
There is high expectation that policies formulated by the ministry will expand the scope and reach out to more Nigerians, restore hope, and bridge the gap of social inclusion for all. In Abuja, Ruth Aguele, NTA News.
Similarly, the Ministry of Women Affairs says in order to stem atrocious acts and other unpleasant treatments against older women in Nigeria, it will work closely with the National Senior Citizen Center to establish special desks across the 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory. A statement by the head Public Affairs, Media and Communication of the National Senior Citizen Center, Omini Oden, reveals that the Minister of Women Affairs, Pauline Talon, made this known when she received the Director General of the National Senior Citizen Center, Dr. M.M. Omokaru, in Abuja, who advocated for a structured, sustainable partnership. You're still watching Nationwide. Up next is our Kaduna Network Center with Amina.
Thank you, Najatu. Welcome to Kaduna. National Information Technology Development Agency, NITDA, is engaging IT experts in Kaduna to identify talents towards sustaining contribution to development of digital economy and skills in Nigeria. Umar Ajingi has more.
ICT experts in Kaduna are taking advantage of the renewed policy on digital economy popularized by the present administration as part of federal government diversification program. The National Information Technology Development Agency, NITDA, is in Kaduna for this stakeholders engagement. The agency under the Ministry of Communication and Digital Economy is leveraging on this initiative to scout for ICT experts to integrate them into the mainstream of digital economy policy.
Actually, it's a good step, and like they rightly said, any form of intervention they want to render to the people, they first and foremost need to understand what is their own perspective.
This workshop at the instance of leaders to create a common platform for cross-fertilization of ideas among participants on how to tap from the abundant potential of ICT sector of the economy.
We are here today just to ensure that even the services that the agency is providing, that we can bring it down to the grassroots.
Well, we want to bring people closer to what we do in NITDA, and we want to learn from them what they want.
The idea is to explore potentials in this sector. In Kaduna, Umar Ajingi, NTA News.
The need for Nigeria to sustain relations with the Republic of Niger has been emphasized. The Nigerian Minister of Vocational Training, Kasim Mamman Mukhtar, said this when he visited the Deputy Governor of Kano State, Nasir Yusuf Gawuna, in his office. Abdullah Mustafa has the report.
Over centuries, Kano has been a crossroad for trans-Saharan traders and a market for their goods. Up till now, economic and cultural ties between Sahel countries and Nigeria continue. This is further strengthened by the Buhari administration's Kano Maradi Rail project, which aims to boost economic activities along the ancient trans-Saharan trade routes. This and familiarization tour of Kano Ultra-Modern Schools Acquisition Center were what brings to the state the Nigerian Minister for Vocational Training, Kasum Mamman Mukhtar. While appreciating President Muhammadu Buhari for linking his country with the Nigerian railway network, the minister told Kano State Deputy Governor Nasir Yusuf Gawuna that Niger Republic has many things to learn from Kano in the area of skills acquisition training.
I have a message of goodwill from President Muhammad Bazoum that you may convey for us to His Excellency Muhammad Buhari. We wish him God's guidance.
The Deputy Governor assured the minister that Kano State and federal governments will support Niger Republic towards making its citizens self-reliant. This and similar cooperations, he believes, are what will solidify the bond of brotherhood among African nations. In Kano, Abdullah Mustafa, NTA News.
And that's it from here. It's back to Najatu in Abuja.
Thank you, Amina. The House of Representatives is urging the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to use both virtual and physical modes for the continuous voter registration CVR exercise across the country. The House members are concerned that the online CVR may leave some Nigerians disenfranchised. In response to a motion from Representative Abubakar and Lehman, the House says introducing the physical enumerators will address the lapses of the online registration. The need for enlightenment was also emphasized in order to avoid low turnout in forthcoming elections. The Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja has set aside the judgment of the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory, which invalidated the Kano State APC ward and local government congresses. The appeal courts held that the lower court lacks jurisdiction over the matter. The appellate court also held that the case was not a pre-election matter but an internal matter of the ruling party, therefore should be decided by the leadership of the All Progressives Congress. The ruling APC in Kano had split into factions, with a faction loyal to Governor Umar Ganduji, while the other being led by the former Kano State Governor, Senator Ibrahim Shekaro. And now let's join Agatha in Benin for more updates.
Thank you, Najatu, for joining us in Benin. And Benin City, Edo State capital, is having a fair share of fuel scarcity or unavailability of fuel that is hitting the nation. There are endless queues in sight. Ogochukuka Ona reports that the unavailability of premium motor spirit is currently affecting the price of the product, as it is now sold way above the standard pump price.
That's a bit of the situation at the filling stations visited. The queues are back, and motorists say this could be because the control price has increased and independent marketers sell the products above the approved pump price. They say the fluctuation in price is not satisfactory and affecting the masses.
It has been so hectic for the past 2 days.
We know the sea fuel buy, they don't increase them. So let them sell for the public, make everybody know they suffer.
I even asked them what is the problem. Nobody who tried to tell me what is going on.
At the time of filing this report, some stations were selling as high as 190 naira per litre, as against the official rate of 162 naira.
Fuel not supposed to be like this. For fuel that we are manufacturing fuel, something that is our side, then we cannot even enjoy it.
I drove past a lot of fuel stations. None of the fuel stations were selling. So it was only here that I saw them selling, and I had to join the queue.
For us to buy a litre for 200 naira and we feed the keg to take home for generator, also with the car, it's not funny at all.
Even the fuel and the diesel is too expensive. I bought diesel for 400 naira a litre, and last week I bought it for 360 naira a litre.
They want government to take urgent steps to prevent an escalation of the situation as the clock ticks. In Benin, Ogochukuka Ona, NTA News.
Away from the situation report on fuel, the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons and Other Related Matters has paraded 8 trafficked underage girls. This follows a raid around the Duwawa area of Benin City. Paul Omukago has the report.
Chidiebere Oruru Ifudu is the Benin Zonal Commander, NAPTID. Our mission is to rid the streets of Benin of suspects involved in the illicit trade of human trafficking. The arrest and parade of these suspects is one of many steps to contain underage prostitution and trafficking in persons.
Our investigators and the DSS investigators raided the 2 hotels and rescued some of these young girls that are forced into prostitution. And they are now, right now, you can see them behind me. They are with us. We have commenced investigation, and the matter will be charged to court in due course. During the raid, we also got the manager and the security personnel in the hotel. Right now, the owner is still at large, and we are making frantic efforts to arrest him. And during the course of investigation, we've been able to know the actual underage girls in their midst, and the other ones we have released because we don't really have any business with them.
She wants parents to show more interest in their children's social engagement and the company they keep to avoid being victims of human trafficking. A total of 32 suspects were initially arrested during a raid on 2 hospitality facilities. In Benin, Paul Omukago, NTA News.
And that's our package. Another break is here. When Nationwide returns, Naja Atu will be on. Do stay.
Thanks for staying tuned to Nationwide. The Federal Road Safety Corps is set to clamp down on illegal use of plate numbers as well as misappropriation of spy plate numbers in the country. The Corps Marshal Boboye Oyemi emphasized this at the first quarter 2022 strategic session of the Corps in Abuja. Oyemi Ajayi reports.
We see them around. Many mistake them for police escort vehicles used to protect an important personality on the roads. Sometimes they bully road users just to have their ways through. This has been the trend of some motorists who use unauthorized plate numbers on the roads. Hence, the Federal Road Safety Corps says it will not just fold its hands to allow this pass by, as penalties, arrests and prosecutions will be made on such motorists when apprehended.
State enforcement, while we work with the Department of State Services, the Inspector of Police, to know the source, because it's not being produced by the number plate production plant or by the Lagos State Number Plate Production Authority. So enforcement and investigation is the key. It's an act of criminality to be using unauthorized number plates affixed on a vehicle, and that is tax evasion.
A call was made to states to fully support the move, while urging the Corps not to relent on its oars towards ensuring sanity on the roads.
To encourage governments at all levels, the National Assembly and all relevant stakeholders to ensure total backing and support for the federal government's policy on road transportation and provision of good road infrastructure.
This strategic session is set to help the Corps consolidate on efforts and achievements in the last year and draft a better roadmap for 2022. In Abuja, Oyeyemi Ajayi, NTA News.
Jos is next with Zenret.
Najatu. Governor Simon Lalong has tasked nominees of the Senior Executive Course 44 of the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies, NIT School, to use the thematic areas of studies in injecting new ideas that will strengthen the local government administration in Nigeria for better impact on the citizenry. This was when he received the course nominees on a visit at the Government House, Jos. Priscilla Grumnan reports.
90 nominees drawn from the three arms of government, military and paramilitary, as well as the private sector, are participating in the 44th Senior Executive Course of the Institute, which has as its theme, strengthening local governance, challenges, options and opportunities. Governor Simon Lalong says the theme of study is timely in view of the greater need to pay closer attention to the local government administration, which is the closest to the people at the grassroots. He urges the participants to bring to bear their collective wealth of experience towards improving the policy direction for better administration of the third tier of government.
From rural areas back to the city. That's why we have this problem of Nigeria. So the administration should be shifted back to the grassroots.
Acting Director General of the Institute, Brigadier General Chukwuemeka Udaya, says participants will embark on visits to some local government areas of the state to understudy their workings, expressing optimism that nominees will do justice to the thematic area of the study to bringing in new lease of life in the local government administration. In Jos, Priscilla Grumnan, NTA News.
Wife of Plateau State Governor Regina Lalong is expressing the commitment of her pet project to addressing gender-based violence in the state. She stated this while receiving stakeholders from the United Kingdom Westminster Foundation for Democracy. Alisa Batukai Andrew reports.
The Westminster Foundation for Democracy is working towards the protection of women and girls, as well as the less privileged affected by gender-based violence. Aside this, the organization is committed to strengthening democracy worldwide. The team is in Plateau State to ensure the passage of the bill into law.
We are here to reiterate and to also encourage you to use your good office
and network or synergize with the Plateau State House of Assembly in ensuring that the clean copy is drawn up and transmitted for possible assent, and also that you also use your good office to ensure that His Excellency assents to it as soon as the document is presented to his office.
Wife of Plateau Governor represented applauded the organization's initiative and for its concern for women and children.
This one will not be a new thing or a hard thing that he will do for women, especially with the help of Her Excellency, to make sure that once the law is on ground, implementation will not be a big deal.
The organization then honored wife of the governor for her commitment to the welfare of women and the less privileged. In Jos, Alisa Botukai Andrew, NTA News.
That's our contribution to Nationwide. It's back to Najatu for more reports.
Thank you, Zenret. We're talking climate matters now. Nigeria has set ambitious climate goals, including a nationally determined contribution target of reducing carbon emissions to 1.5 degrees by 2060. The NDCs also plan to cut emissions by 20% unconditionally and 47% conditionally by 2030, with a focus on power and electricity, oil and gas, as well as agriculture, land use and transport. Consequently, an indicator document for measurement, reporting and validation of the implementation has been validated by stakeholders. Supported by the Initiative for Climate Action Transparency, the validation document will help Nigeria to transparently track implementation of the Paris Agreement in line with the nation's climate action targets. Success in this project is expected to pave the way for the development of frameworks to track climate change in other sectors of the economy, including taking care of the needs of workers in implementing climate change policies in Nigeria. Meanwhile, guests on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria have advised state and local government councils to maximize details of the 2022 seasonal climate prediction by NIMET to farmers in their areas in order to reap the full benefits. Thomas Obetere reports.
This year's seasonal climate prediction document indicates that the planting season will begin in February in the coastal states and will last for about 250 to 300 days. Guests on the program are of the opinion that the seasonal climate prediction by the Nigerian Meteorological Agency has over time proven to be an invaluable tool that has assisted farmers as well as emergency management agencies.
Mostly the country will experience normal to late cessation, but with few areas like Plateau that will be experiencing some late cessation.
They seek more involvement in the part of states, local government and the private sector in massive awareness creation on the need for farmers to adhere strictly and plan according to the prediction to avoid losses.
There could be some rain drops anytime from now in some parts of Nigeria, but that doesn't indicate the onset of rainy season in any of the parts of Nigeria until the date they have mentioned.
If you plant where there is no water, the seeds will not germinate. So the farmers ought to take this as immense. It's prudent for us to abide by what NIMET says.
Guests also stressed the need for Nigerians to beware of the possible outbreak of malaria, as the environment will be good for the breeding of mosquitoes in most parts of the country. They further raised concern on the possible outbreak of meningitis in some northern states, in line with NIMET 2022 prediction. In Abuja, Thomas Ogbetere, NTA News.
The threat of gully erosion in most communities in Anambra State has continued to increase by the day, with the affected being subjected to physical and psychological trauma. The latest on the list is over 20 meters deep gully in the Federal Polytechnic Oku community in Orumba North local government area of the state. Chinyere Fesi Okui reports.
Several meters in width and depth. The sudden occurrence of this erosion, which took the Federal Polytechnic Oko community unawares, surfaced in August 2021, already taking its toll on the Polytechnic It has washed away part of the perimeter fence in the area and has also encroached into the 1.23-kilometer road built by the Federal Ministry of Works, which was inaugurated in February 2021 in the Polytechnic.
We are calling on the President of Nigeria, the state government and all the stakeholders to come to the aid of our students because we are in a danger.
It caused a lot of damage because in a short period of time it might come along to this place we are receiving lecture.
There are also surrounding buildings that are at risk of being submerged if no urgent solution is profound. The greatest threat and menace it poses is threat to life of students and staff alike.
It's beyond our IGR, it's beyond our annual allocation, and it's very massive. And when you look at it, you see that it's not something that we can control.
It is a calamity. It is something anybody can never seek for. Nobody anticipated that our environment will be under serious threat.
Appreciating the federal government for supporting the Polytechnic in different areas, the management, however, says the institution will continue to do what it can as a palliative measure, as a secured and conducive environment is key to academic excellence. From Oko, Chinyere Fesi Okoye, NTA News.
The National Population Commission and National Bureau of Statistics have agreed to close ranks for viable data generation to aid planning for national development. This formed the crux of a meeting between the leadership of the two government agencies at the headquarters of the National Population Commission in Abuja. Olushaye Adiabu reports.
With demographic data being crucial for national development, generating data is central in the statutory assignment of the National Population Commission and the National Bureau of Statistics. But for some time now, the two federal government agencies have been working separately, causing duplication of surveys and abnormalities the current leadership now seek to change. For the Executive Chairman, National Population Commission, Nasu Isakwara, and Statistician General of the Federation, Simon Ari, the target is to help promote the production and usage of statistics with a new drive of building confidence in the output, all in the interest of national growth.
We'll certainly get across to you to also provide us some personnel so that we can do this trial census together, so that we can also do the final main census together. And when that is done, I'm quite sure with your involvement and other stakeholders, the outcome of the census, by the grace of God, will be accepted by the majority of Nigerians.
If we're able to do it that way, certainly we will be avoiding unnecessary duplication of efforts, and by implication, we will find ourselves optimally utilizing the little resources at our disposal.
Now that they have an agreement to synergize operations, they say the next line of action is to strengthen technical collaboration and working out a memorandum of understanding for the clarity of roles and filling the missing gaps. In Abuja, Olushaye Adiagbo, NTA News.
Governor Samuel Otom of Benue State has condemned the recent violent clash between the Tiv and Jukun communities in Makudi Riverside over ownership of fish ponds in the area. The governor, who received briefings from security agents and the chairman of Makudi local government, Mr. Tony Diege, on the matter, called on the two communities to embrace brotherly peace and settlement without delay. The governor decried the scores of people reportedly inflicted with severe injuries from the violent clash over battle for the ownership of fish ponds in the Wurukum area of Makudi, the state capital. He directed the security operatives to take control of the area and do the needful in arresting the perpetrators of the mayhem. In furtherance to providing value orientation geared at making the culture of vector development, the National Institute for Cultural Orientation has taken cultural investment campaign to secondary schools in Adamawa State to promote the values of honesty, hard work and respect. Cynthia Benjamin reports.
This gathering has one thing in focus, that is stimulating cultural consciousness and creativity in students. In Government Girls Secondary School, Yola, Nico Cultural Club was established to reinvigorate our past cherished cultural values to enhance the nation's history. Taking cultural values campaign to secondary schools by the National Institute for Cultural Orientation is to address the effort of globalization, known as cultural imperialism, on our youth that no longer take pride in our culture, hence the initiative by NICO to revive it.
We have a lot of security challenges in this country right now, and we believe language in terms of intelligence gathering, in terms of understanding, the people, because if you don't understand the language of the people, you find it difficult to fight this kind of thing that is happening. But
we are going to at least introduce a day whereby each students will display their own cultural either language or their whatever in a school setting.
To NICO and management of secondary schools in Adamawa State, a campaign for cultural rebirth and national development is a task that all institutions must undertake passionately for peace, unity, and progress of the nation. A similar campaign was also carried out at the barracks of Nigerian Correctional Service, Yola. In Yola, Cynthia Benjamin Ayara, NTA News.
Boosting local sports through the nation's university games will not only help the youth discover their talents, but create a strong spirit of unity leading to national development. This was the submission of sports stakeholders at the opening of the 3-day Zone K preliminaries for the 26th edition of the Nigeria University Games Association, tagged Nuga Games, held at Abraham Odier Stadium, University of Calabar. Udwa Ketim reports.
Promoting physical and mental health, sport could foster unity among citizenry, and that is why the Nigeria University Games Association, NUGA, has continued to provide a platform for students to realize their dreams, while also bringing them together to enhance peace and unity required for nation building. The Zone K preliminaries for the 26th edition of Nuga Games has the University of Calabar playing host to University of Cross River State, Unicross, Abia State University, Michael Okwara University of Agriculture, University of Uyo, and Akwa Ibom State University.
For us as a university, we are very happy with this because we want to showcase who we are, preparatory to bidding for the main thing that is to come in the next few months.
Sport is one of the avenues where we can transform to be useful to themselves and contribute meaningfully in the development of the society.
The sports fiesta, however, began with a football match between Unical and Unicross male team, and the University of Calabar defeated Cross River State University by 2-0.
It's a very big opportunity for us collegiate footballers. We got the platform to show what we are made up of.
Other football matches and athletics qualifying events are ongoing as the Nuga Games continues. In Calabar, Uduak Etam, NTN News.
Let's now join our sports desk for more sport updates.
There is hope that rugby football activities will soon resume in Nigeria as the Federation is taking steps to address some grey areas recommended by the World Body for Nigeria to be unbanned. The Rugby Federation was banned by the World Body following the dissolution of boards of National Sports Federation by the Ministry of Youth and Sports Development. Ademola Are, president of the Nigeria Rugby Federation, says there are plans to create competitions in the 6 geopolitical zones, organize Rugby Nations Cup, as well as purchase equipment.
We are making serious efforts to ensure that we get people with like minds for their support. And that is where somebody like Chief Makitamagbo comes in, who has been using his portfolio as a sports marketing person to assist the Nigerian Rugby Federation
Meanwhile, the third edition of the National Under-17 Cricket Championship enters Day 3, Friday, at the Cricket Oval of the Package B section, Moshood Abiola National Stadium, Abuja. Cricketers from the 6 geopolitical zones of the country are competing to produce over 200,000 young cricketers, as requested by the International Cricket Council.
We also use this medium to discover players for the under-19 national side, for boys, for girls, and some of these players will later play for the senior teams in both male and female categories.
Elsewhere, Kingsley Coman scored a late-minute equalizer as Bayern Munich drew 1-1 at Austrian underdogs RB Salzburg in the first leg of the 2021-2022 UEFA Champions League round of 16 tie. The two sides will meet again Tuesday, March 8th for the return leg. In the meantime, Liverpool left San Siro Stadium with a 2-0 victory over Inter Milan as Roberto Firmino and Mo Salah fired Jurgen Klopp's side to a strong position ahead of their second leg tie with Inter. With sports updates, Cynthia Ogun, NTA News.
Thank you, Cynthia. Sports Update concludes the news on Nationwide. Do remember to support NTA's campaign against rape and rapists and keep staying safe by observing COVID-19 protocols. I'm Najaa Atutijani.